What up guys, welcome back to Underneath the Veil of Marigolds, and today's video is a collaboration with the Witch of Mushroom Forest, and it's going to be upon wards. Specifically, we're going to be doing a siphoning ward. We wanted this type of ward to have some ingredients that you guys could harvest locally to inspire you guys to go out and harvest things that are literally right outside your front door. You'd be surprised at how many weeds that are growing out of the cracks of your sidewalk that you can use for protection, that you can literally just find down the street. I want you guys to try and take advantage of those things instead of constantly buying things off of Amazon, buying all that mass-produced shit. So that's what we're trying to inspire. But at the same time, we want you to be resourceful with some of the items that you already have in your apothecary and things that you have at home laying around as is. Me and her were talking. We both have similar problems with people projecting on us since we are in the media eye. There's a lot of people who don't like us because we tend to stay true to ourselves, and that's a fucking problem apparently. We have a lot of hate. We get a lot of hate comments. We get a lot of hate emails and shit. I don't really say much of anything to you guys because I don't really want to project that onto you guys. It's really not your problem. For those of you who actually support me, those of you who do, I highly appreciate it. And I delete all that shit because you guys don't need to see that crap in the comments. I want this to be a safe place for you guys to comment and ask me questions. And I don't want you to have to see that there. I don't want that crap to uninspire you to try something new. That's ridiculous for people to have that such of a closed off mind, a narrow mind, to stop people from trying new things. I have people who've tried to put me in jars just because they were mad because I was trying to take charge of my life because, you know, no one else is gonna fucking help me do it. And it's fucking ridiculous. It was uncalled for. This ward's gonna help with people basically casting magic on us. That's uncalled for. This type of ward constantly siphons the vital essence, life essence, from another practitioner who sends magic upon you that was not called for. That is from ill intent, baneful intent, and it constantly siphons from that source. If you guys do not know, when you send magic, that magic is tied to your essence. It draws forth from that essence. You can create wards that do this and that constantly siphon from that vitality and can drain that practitioner dry over time. And they'll be waking up wondering why they're so fucking tired and they can't recover. It shaves that time off of their lifeline. It might sound shitty, but they shouldn't have been sending death curses, putting us in jars, doing other shitty fucking shit to us that was uncalled for. We don't hex and curse people willy-nilly. It's uncalled for to just do that shit randomly to people because we decided to share those types of things with other people so they can empower themselves. With this type of ward, it has a layer of protection for yourself and a sigil that draws in the vital essence and the holding cell, which is going to be a stone. And you can use the stone in your spells, transmute that energy from the holding cell, which is the stone, into another stone, and you can turn that into neutral energy to use in other spells. Or you can just take that stone with the shitty fucking energy and use it in baneful magic if that's what you need it for. So that's one less step you need to take. This ward is very useful, and it doesn't really need to be super intricate. It could literally just be a rock and a fucking sigil if you wanted it to be, or just a rock, and you just program the rock. I don't usually make my stuff look super fancy and pretty all the fucking time, so I decided to take an advantage of this and make it look really nice for once. So during the video, I'll do an over voice per usual, and I'll go over some things that you can swap out if you don't have some of the items that I have, and I'll go over some more stones that are programmable to your liking. Have some scientific data to it for those of you who like to pair science with witchcraft. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start. This wasn't necessarily my intention, but a while ago when I harvested these plants, I realized that everything I got was in the sign of fire. Even the stone, the copper, it wasn't my intention, but it just turned out that way. Everything but the stone crop. The stone crop's the only thing I believe that is not. Some resources say the obsidian's in the sign of earth and fire, though, so depends how you want to see that, how you want to use the energy, I guess. I grabbed 2 different sizes of obsidian because I'm using this thin, like paper, like copper type of material. It's supposed to be for like roofing. Like if you get like holes in your roof, you can put this on top of that material to seal it, and it just molds into the shape. So this is something they would use to put over that roofing type of material. So it's supposed to be a durable, flexible material. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna use this since I have it and cut it into the shape of the sigil that I drew and see if that works. So it did. I decided to not film that part because that part took a while. I didn't want this video to be, 10,000 hours long. With that said, I was hesitant about how much weight it could hold, but I really wanted to use the bigger piece of obsidian so it could absorb and hold more vital essence than the smaller stone. So that's why I have 2 pieces, and I was shrugging because I was like, I don't know how much it can hold weight limit wise. So right now I am drilling in little holes because I have to make some chain links and put them together so I can wire wrap the piece of obsidian so it can hang from below the sigil. So then the energy can create a current through the sigil into the piece of obsidian. So I'm going to go over the design of the sigil, and the top part is the ink, and that represents the life force being drawn in. And the middle part is the Jed pillar, and this pillar has 3 bars on it, and 1 bar represents strength, the next bar is for stability, and the last bar is to represent enduring the energy flow that is going to go through it. After that, there is a fusion of the Ka, and that represents the vital essence, and that is right above the spiraling that is underneath it to bring in the vital essence and bring it downward into the piece of obsidian that is the holding cell. Lastly, there is an arrow pointing downward to direct the energy into the obsidian. And these are all hieroglyphs that I've fused together and specifically programmed them to do one specific thing. Even though they do mean multiple things, I just pulled in one specific thing. It's just like having herbs and materials. They all do multiple things, but we program them to do one specific thing. We heighten that metaphysical property. You can do the same thing with glyphs. That's like making your own sigil out of them. That's what I did. I made my own sigil out of them. All right, so while I make 10,000 little copper links, let's go over some of the stones that have piezoelectricity that you can use. I'm going to name them off, strongest to weakest. I have 4 stones on here. First off is black tourmaline. You can use any color, but black is the most responsive when it comes to piezoelectricity and pyroelectric output, which means this stone generates electricity from pressure and temperature change. That's cool, Dira. Why does that fucking matter? Alright, hear me out. So the theory behind this, since they can hold this type of piezoelectric charge, is that they are a better conduit to hold and absorb energy and manifest your needs. So they would be a better holding cell for these types of wards. Stone number 2 is berlinite. It has a similar trigonal structure to quartz. It has a higher temp tolerance, stronger piezoelectricity than quartz. Number 3 is topaz. It has a strong piezoelectric effect, stronger than quartz, produces a very measurable voltage under pressure. And the Egyptians liked this stone a lot. They believed this stone could bring in any manifestation. Is that a coincidence that it has a piezoelectricity that is very measurable? And they didn't even know that back then? Interesting. Number 4, which is quartz. It's not the strongest, but it is the most structurally sound and stable and has the most research behind it. And it's used in watches, sensors, because of its stability. Its vibrations and frequencies are so stable compared to all the other stones that I named off. So those of you who like to pair some scientific research with witchcraft, that's for you. My favorite stone is obsidian, and it's been used for a long time to absorb energies. So that's what I'm programming it to do, is to absorb and hold on to those energies until I need to use them. Enchanting the walnut shells for a barrier of protection. And then I'm going to add the stone crop into the walnut shells. And the stone crop is good for warding off malicious spirits. So that's also another protection measure. And that's what I'm going to enchant it for. And I'm going to put that into the walnut shell and I'm going to tie it up with black string. Okay, so I named off all those stones. Out of all of them, we know the quartz is going to be probably the cheapest thing to get. And we have the most of that around. So quartz is probably going to be your best friend to get for a ward like this. And if you want to get some copper, just grab a couple of old pennies that you got lying around. And you could probably put all that shit in a bag and grab a couple protective herbs, create a sigil, put that shit in the bag, and you have yourself a little siphoning ward. I mean, it doesn't look super pretty or anything, but it does the trick. And I am using the black walnut sticks for protection, as a barrier of protection. I also ended up engraving the incantation I used for this ward into the sticks, on 2 of the sticks. Once the ward is done, it's going to be hung up in the window, or you can hang it outside. I mean, it's up to you. It's going to be your ward at the end of the day. So make sure you have a little something you can hang it up with. Once you have it hanging in the window or hanging outside, you can have this get juiced up by the lunar phases. Here's what the incantation reads. I siphon and drain the energy source of who sent me bane. Your vital essence I now obtain. This is my will, and so shall it be. That was a bitch to engrave into that shit. It probably would have been easier just to write it in there with like a fucking marker. But I wanted to engrave it, okay? I was fucking stubborn. So here is the finished product. It's pretty good for not measuring a damn thing. I was thinking this piece of obsidian was gonna be way too fucking heavy, but this copper stuff is really strong for how thin it is. So there it is. Vampiric siphoning ward. I'm gonna hang this in front of the window, but I just wanted to get this in the light so you guys could see it because it's nighttime right now. That's all I got for you guys today, and if you don't already, please go on over and follow the Witch of Mushroom Forest. She's a great practitioner. She's very logical. She has a good head on her shoulders. She's coming out with a few more books, I believe. I will link all her stuff below in the description section. Until next time, I will see all you lovely little brujitas later.